Hello, just a short video about problems that you can get while teaching at schools. I belong to a number of Facebook groups of teachers who post up things that happen, and looking for solutions to things that they experience on a day-to-day aspect of teaching. And there was one a little while ago about a guy who'd had sounds like a 4 weeks teaching at schools, and in the posting he said that these 4 schools had now been drastically reduced, and he was actually now looking to change careers. But he was citing that there'd been a problem with some of the schools where he would turn up for a day's teaching, to be told by the school that the kids were out on a trip. Now, this particular term, which is the summer term for, is notoriously difficult to navigate with types of exams that run through the school, whether it's end of year exams, SATs exams, obviously GCSE exams, A-levels, etc., and study leave, and then at the end of near the end of the term, trips out, and sometimes schools are organised enough to have a calendar which is difficult in itself to navigate, and at other times you're the last one to know about anything that's going on. And this particular instance that he cites, a kid tells him that they've got a church service which would include the entire school. No member of staff had told him this, and he said this is quite common. He also said that he wouldn't be able to catch up with the lost time. Now, there's a couple of things that I can see within that. First of all, you need masses of flexibility when you're teaching in a school. Also, there's a lot of potential for generating goodwill by being flexible, as long as people know that you are being flexible. And there's another aspect where the sort of skills of communication with people probably could have been a little bit better. Not because he didn't make the effort, because I think he probably did, but what tends to happen is that the people who are really in touch with what's going on actually may not necessarily be the head of department, it may be the secretary. So it could actually be that you need to have a better rapport with the ladies in the office, if that's your if you're in a state school, they tend to be the ones who know exactly what's going on. And certainly in some schools that I work in, the head of department is rather removed from everything, to be honest, and sometimes for good reason, because they're just getting away. In other departments, it's because they're incredibly busy doing stuff. They could be doing shows, could be doing exams, and you're really not a consideration. So the more that you're in control and more connected to what's going on, the better. It probably means that you need to be in touch with the parents in a way that they can inform you. So you've got different ways of finding out. None of these are foolproof, okay? But it's a case of, like a lot of things, like having a contract. The contract doesn't save you from anything really, but it can sort of prepare the ground to make things not happen. When they do happen, having a contract isn't necessarily going to save you, as I say, and you have to resort to other legal means to get your money. That's another issue. But the other point is that, as I said at the beginning, you need a lot of flexibility. Which means if you go in and find that, Harry can't do his lesson, whatever, you've got other things you can do that are valuable. And if you haven't got things like that, find things. That could be your accounts work, it could be writing a book, it could be doing all sorts of things, writing exercise patterns and stuff that you can use in your teaching that you can charge people for. So it's sort of, quality time. The other aspect is having the flexibility means that you've got to have some downtime to be able to catch up with lessons that can't be made. And when you do that, make sure that people realise that you don't actually have to do it. So you really play on the goodwill, so that people know that you're doing a favour. I've often lessons during the holidays catching up, and that sometimes works out really well because it's parents that you meet that you wouldn't normally meet if it's at school, and it often leads on to some other sort of sale. So I'm quite keen on that. And it's definitely something that you should consider, that not all those things are bad. You are self-employed, even if you're apparently employed, if you get my drift. If you're at a school and you're employed by them and you're paying national insurance and all this, you are actually still self-employed from the point of view of how your attitude works. You haven't got the sort of level of protection as if you're employed by an institution, so it's not quite the same. Anyway, there's a couple of pointers which I think, if you're thinking about working in schools and colleges, I mean, colleges are 10 times worse than working in a school from the point of view of being disorganised and everything, in my experience. Probably end up with a bunch of emails telling me that that's not the case, but my experience is that if you want to go to somewhere that's completely disorganised, try a college. You won't even know what room you're in from week to week. So anyway, so I'll catch up with you again. I'll be posting up quite a few of these teaching, the sort of mechanics of teaching stuff as well with videos. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.